Jimmy Kimmel, he's very mad at me, and I know you're close to him.
I've heard
I hope you tell him that, I'm sorry that, they got bent out of shape. I don't think I did anything wrong. We can have disagreements.
I agree.
I mean, you and I don't agree on everything. Look at this clash now, and yet we're cool. Sometimes I am a little brash about me when they compare me with the other late night guys, and I'm like, I'm not like you guys. I'm not. You could all exchange your monologues, all of you, and no one would know the difference in tone. Tone, okay?
Tone, yeah.
Whereas me, I'm not there. I'm not
agree.
in on your, I don't just buy into the left-wing bullshit. And I never stop making fun of the right-wing bullshit.
Bill Maher recently offered pointed criticism aimed at Jimmy Kimmel and other late-night political comedy hosts, sparking significant discussion online. Maher, who was once known to have a friendly relationship with Kimmel, explained that their connection faded after he chose not to align with Kimmel's approach to political commentary. He also raised concerns about what he sees as inconsistencies in how certain hosts address political issues, arguing that standards can shift depending on the topic. The remarks quickly drew attention across social media. If you're interested in thoughtful political analysis and media commentary, consider subscribing as we break it all down.
It bugs me so much. My tribe is supposed to be the left, but these are the people who just can't talk to you unless you're exactly there. Whereas the Republicans, they always fucking come to my show. John Kennedy from Louisiana was on last week, took his beating like a man, like they all do. And we came across lovingly and smilingly and happily, and we can disagree.
I agree.
You and I aren't always completely on the same page, although we're very close because we're both smart guys. But, I just don't get.
Maher openly voiced frustration with people he sees as politically aligned with him. In his view, many on the left have become increasingly unwilling to engage with perspectives that differ from their own. He argues that some communities operate in insulated spaces where familiar progressive ideas are repeated and reinforced, while opposing viewpoints are rarely examined or debated. While that environment may feel reassuring, Maher suggests it can also leave people unprepared for serious disagreement. When confronted with tough questions or alternative interpretations, he believes some struggle to respond in a substantive way. To him, this weakens public debate and diminishes overall credibility. His concern isn't simply about tone or online arguments. Maher contends that avoiding open discussion ultimately harms the very issues supporters say they value. In his assessment, the inability to respectfully engage with differing opinions poses a real challenge for healthy and productive political conversation.
Bullshit at all.
Right.
And if that's not good enough for you, then I think you're the asshole. And I don't think Jimmy is an asshole.
No,
I think he's a great guy. And it bugs me that, because of what the latest thing was, that, we may never talk.
You guys should be thick as thieves and on the same page. And I'll tell you something interesting. Talking about left and talking about right.
Even while offering criticism of Jimmy Kimmel, Maher appears to signal that disagreement does not have to turn into personal hostility. He emphasizes that people can hold different views without severing relationships. In a pluralistic society, differences in policy preferences, values, and political interpretations are inevitable and in many ways necessary for democratic debate to function properly. Maher argues that treating every disagreement as a moral betrayal only deepens division. When dissent is automatically framed as disloyalty or bad faith, constructive dialogue becomes nearly impossible. In his view, disagreement should open the door to conversation, careful debate, and thoughtful challenge rather than personal attacks or dismissing someone's perspective outright. For him, the situation goes beyond any tension with Kimmel. It reflects a broader concern about how public discourse is handled. Maher maintains that intellectual honesty and respectful disagreement demonstrate confidence and maturity, not weakness, and that reducing complex issues to personal conflicts ultimately misses the larger point.
Stamp. I mean,
well, maybe
you can't tell me that Congress.
I don't mean Congress. I mean amongst the tastemakers. Your sort of Tucker Carlsons, your Candace Owens, your Ben Shapiros.
You're right. They're all over the map.
They're all battling.
They're fighting each other.
Right. And on the left, everyone's sort of lockstep in terms of the tastemakers.
Right. Ben Shapiro, Yarmulke.
Right.
Tucker Carlson, Hitler?
Right, right.
Not so bad.
Right, right. So
what the fuck?
But all I'm saying is whether you agree or disagree.
Let's be precise. It may not be a personal feud, but there is a clear public disagreement, and that dynamic is central to how democratic systems function. Debate, friction, and competing viewpoints are not flaws in the process. They are how policies and ideas are tested, challenged, and improved over time. Maher suggests that within parts of the political left, open disagreement can sometimes feel constrained. In his view, some individuals may privately question more activist or hardline positions, but hesitate to voice those concerns publicly out of fear of criticism or social consequences. Rather than engage in open debate, they may choose silence to avoid controversy. He argues that this dynamic weakens honest dialogue. When disagreement becomes uncomfortable or discouraged, the space for meaningful discussion narrows. Maher's broader point is that any political movement that struggles to accommodate internal differences risks appearing rigid, and long-term credibility depends on allowing open and respectful exchange of ideas.
Isn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the woman's show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha. Then on the 5th day, they rose and said, "No one silences us. No one had to. You silenced yourself."
The broader debate intensified after Jimmy Kimmel was briefly suspended following remarks made on his program. Rather than revisit the specifics, Maher focused on the reaction that followed. This, in his view, is where the situation became more revealing than the initial controversy itself. Maher questioned why certain media figures, including hosts from The View, chose not to comment publicly when Kimmel faced criticism. He noted that many commentators regularly speak about principles such as free expression, empathy, and fairness, but when someone within their broader media circle encounters backlash, the response can become noticeably restrained. According to Maher, that silence did not appear accidental. He suggested it may have reflected caution in a highly reactive online climate, where public statements can quickly spark intense pushback. To him, selectively defending speech based on convenience risks undermining the principle itself. Maher argues that consistency matters, and that daytime political commentary, like any other platform, is strengthened when standards are applied evenly rather than situationally.
Continued, did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel? No, I thought you would, but then you didn't. "5 days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're making my point."
Maher drew a broader comparison, arguing that some commentators who openly embrace progressive politics can appear highly vocal when criticizing figures on the right, yet noticeably restrained when scrutiny falls closer to home. In his view, political commentary often becomes more forceful and urgent when directed outward, with strong language and sustained coverage. He suggests that when similar standards might apply to allies or ideologically aligned figures, the tone can shift or the discussion may quiet down. Maher characterizes this contrast as an inconsistency in how accountability is applied. To him, principles should not depend on which political side is under examination. Maher argues that avoiding uncomfortable conversations within one's own camp can create the impression of selective outrage. He maintains that credibility in public discourse depends on applying values consistently, regardless of political alignment. In his assessment, any movement that emphasizes moral authority must be willing to examine its own actions with the same intensity it directs toward others.
It's just, it's just an upbeat party show. That's why they hired people named Joy and Sunny and Whoopi. Girls, let me go out strong, okay? It won't kill you. I promise. It's happened to me, and I may go out after this show. We don't know. We don't know. And, Jimmy, look, I don't think what he said was exactly right. I don't. We don't agree on that. He didn't lose his job.
In the clip, Maher makes a point of defending Kimmel in certain respects, which suggests that whatever disagreements exist are not rooted in personal hostility. He frames the situation as a matter of principle rather than rivalry, emphasizing that disagreement does not automatically erase professional respect. Maher's larger concern appears to center on what he views as an increasingly partisan tone in segments of late-night comedy. He has argued that political satire functions best when it scrutinizes all sides, rather than focusing predominantly on one political figure or movement. In his view, when commentary becomes predictable or one-directional, it risks losing the broader purpose of satire. He maintains that declining to align fully with any single political narrative should not be interpreted as endorsement of the opposing side. For Maher, balance and independence are essential to credibility. He suggests that maintaining that stance can sometimes create tension in today's media environment, where neutrality may be interpreted as disloyalty rather than independent judgment.
Errand to try to say that these nuts who do these things are any team. Jimmy's wrong, I think, to put him in one team. But, you know, look at what this guy is doing. I mean, Jimmy has every right to be wrong, but look at this guy. He was doing porn video games with furries. He was on a game called Furry Shades of Gay 3. This kid is in his basement with VR goggles on, getting virtually ass-fucked by a cartoon wombat? And you're gonna put politics into this?
This appears to be the point where Maher and Kimmel's perspectives began to diverge more noticeably. Maher has openly questioned what he sees as the increasing politicization of late-night programming, and he has expressed disagreement with the direction some hosts have taken. In doing so, he made clear that his concerns extend beyond a single individual. Over time, several late-night shows have incorporated more political commentary into their formats. Maher argues that this shift has changed the tone of the genre, moving away from light-hearted sketches, broad cultural humor, and relaxed interviews towards more pointed monologues and policy-driven discussions. While many viewers appreciate that evolution, Maher believes something distinctive about traditional late-night has been altered. He has said that the genre once provided a space for shared humor about everyday life and cultural quirks, rather than sustained ideological critique. For Maher, the issue is not simply about one host's choices, but about a broader industry trend. He questions whether leaning heavily into political framing risks narrowing the appeal and original spirit of late-night comedy.
And finally, new rule, stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious. Now, I mentioned this karma stuff on the show last week because I was relating how many texts and emails I got from people congratulating me on receiving a karmagram from the universe in the form of Whoopi Goldberg's chastisement.
Maher also addressed the controversy surrounding Whoopi Goldberg's temporary removal from her show after remarks that drew widespread criticism. Regardless of the specifics of what was said, Maher maintained a consistent position. He believes individuals should be able to express their views without automatically facing professional consequences. That stance reflects his broader commitment to free expression, even when he personally disagrees with the substance of the comments. In his view, criticism and rebuttal are appropriate responses to speech, but removing someone from their platform can raise concerns about precedent. Maher argues that responding with counterarguments strengthens public discourse, whereas silencing voices can complicate it. He applies the same reasoning to his differences with Kimmel. For Maher, disagreement does not equal hostility. Diverging perspectives on politics, tone, or approach do not have to end professional respect or personal relationships. Adults, he suggests, should be able to debate one another openly while maintaining mutual regard. In his philosophy, meaningful engagement rather than exclusion is the healthier path when differences arise.
Goldberg shouldn't have to conform to or apologize for her views on race, as much as I disagree with them. And she certainly shouldn't have to sit out like a child and think about what she did. The View suspending someone for sharing a view is like firing Pat Sajak for selling a vowel.
The United States has long identified itself as a democratic society built on constitutional protections, including freedom of speech. A core principle of that tradition is allowing a wide range of viewpoints to be expressed, even when those views are controversial or uncomfortable. Open discourse has historically been seen as a strength rather than a weakness in democratic systems. Disagreement by itself is not unlawful, and personal offense is not automatically equivalent to tangible harm. There are established legal and institutional frameworks, such as courts, workplace guidelines, and public accountability processes, designed to address speech that crosses defined boundaries. Those mechanisms are intended to operate through structured review rather than impulsive reaction. When public pressure becomes the primary response to contested speech, some argue that it risks undermining the deliberative processes democracy relies on. Advocates of open debate maintain that ideas should be met with counterarguments, scrutiny, and discussion, rather than automatic exclusion. From that perspective, protecting space for dialogue helps preserve democratic norms. That wraps up today's discussion. If you found this analysis helpful, consider liking the video and subscribing for more thoughtful political commentary. Turn on notifications so you don't miss future uploads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.